Hello everyone, welcome to week 9 here in the Reddit League, season 3. I'm Zatomo and I'm joined as always by my co-caster, Calamity. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm too tired to do anything more sophisticated. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, we're actually recording at a nice time for me, mwahaha, not for you. So you'll have to deal with that as we wake up to some Geoguessr this morning for this one. Yeah, we've got a matchup in Division 2 for you all today. It is IceTharu up against Tall Impala. And as you can see, Tall, who was fighting for promotion last season, is struggling kind of middle of the table this season, while Ice is in those promotion slots with only a few more weeks to go, Calamity.
Yeah, Ice is roughly where he was last season as well. He finished that in 5th place. Currently slightly higher up there with 4th place and 18 points at the moment. But I think most of his points came later on in last season. I'm not 100% confident on that, but I think he ended the season better than he started it. Which is why he was relatively why he was out of sort of the promotion fight relatively early on last season, even though he did come 5th. And yeah, for Tall Impala, it's not been the best season, but he's at least relatively secure in his spot in the division. So, maybe it's nice after 2 seasons of having to fight in the promotion playoff and losing both times that this season he probably doesn't have to worry about that. But yeah, he'll surely pick himself back up and go for it again next season. And he'll just look to finish this season off with some nice wins.
Oh yeah, his average points is quite a bit lower than IceTharu's, but their best games pretty much on par with each other. Ace is also pretty close. Ice just edging out with 17 to 14. He sits 5 points higher in the table with 2 more wins than Tall Impala. So let's take a look at the map we're playing this week. It is a world map, and again, we have a themed world map like we had Dams of the World in week 2. Here we have islands. So everything is an island, big or small. But the author does say that he favors small and tiny islands, so that could be interesting given how much information tends to be on those. Average score 14,371 with over 1,000 locations. Probably quite a bit more than 1,000 locations, but that's all we can tell. It's been played about 350 times. Yeah, so Clem, are you looking forward to this matchup, and who do you favor on a world map?
Yeah, it's difficult for me to say. Yeah, I think they're about even. By the way, I also think I've figured out, because Ice was complaining to me about Iceland not being part of the map, even though it is a small island technically. But I think the map maker only included maps that are not the entirety of the country, basically. So nothing that is just an island country, something like Iceland, but also something like Malta, for example, which is even smaller, would not be included. I think that's the reasoning behind it. But yeah, I think they're about even in how good they are depending on the map we get and the seed we get. So yeah, it could definitely be an interesting match to watch.
Yeah, definitely indeed. So with that, let us jump in to round number 1. And I forgot to mute them. There we go. We could get more of a French lesson from Tall Impala this season, but we start off in what Tall believes is a Japanese island.
Yep.
Maybe well, it does appear to be Japanese, but maybe a practice coming into play here for Tall right off the start, Calamity.
Yeah, not necessarily practice in this case, just the fact that it was on one of the other division seeds as well.
Yep. So, I mean, hey, you have to play those, and that is practice.
Yeah,
so.
True. In this case, yes, you're right. Practice paying off. Ice, I think Ice played the other practice seeds as well, though. He usually does that. Let's see.
As he'll get into his video. Yeah, he does remember it.
Yeah, he just didn't remember it first glance, but once he saw the island name again, he knew it.
It was in Division 1. Maybe we shouldn't spoil anything, but I can't remember. It wasn't one of them. I didn't play them in order in my practice, so I do know. I can't remember which one it was exactly.
Yeah, I'll quickly look it up. Just keep on commentating.
Yeah, so they're not really looking for a whole lot, just probably trying to remember what they have seen in the past and getting their orientation correct. They maybe have dropped some points in the practice games. They're trying to use this time here to do a better job at pinpointing. And looks like while they maybe remembered the island, they didn't remember the exact pin location, which
Yes.
would be interesting.
It's not too difficult to pinpoint though. As
No,
Tall and
and
Palace doing right there, you make it relatively quickly to the coast, so you just have to go back a couple of streets. I
there
did
we go.
look it up. It wasn't Division 1, but it was in a division that we'll probably cast a game on. I don't know if you want me to tell people which one it is, but
Well, I think it's not that big of an issue, but maybe leave some suspense for them to watch which one it might be in.
ooh,
So there we
excitement.
go. We start off next to this, like, what is this? Like a, forget what it was, a water processing facility or a electricity hub, one of the two.
Maybe.
Forget what it was. So, but unfortunately, it wasn't on the map, so you couldn't really use it to pinpoint. And now they're just using the remaining of their time to enjoy the beautiful island scenery here off of, well, not certainly that far south, so I don't know how warm it is, but
Looks pretty warm.
yeah, you always have the kind of island effect where islands, even if they're far north, will be a little bit warmer than their mainland counterparts. So an ace for Tall Impala there. Ice has his marker pretty similar location, has yet to guess though.
Yeah, ice is just a couple 100 meters further south, and
There
there
we
we
go.
go. Getting closer. It's got 20 seconds to make the final adjustments. Otherwise, he'll be losing 1 or 2 points.
There we go. He had his pin in the right place and then moved it and then now moved it back. So I don't know if he's just double checking, making sure, using every second of that time that the organizers give you. Nothing wrong with that. And he'll even let time expire, which means he'll get an ace as well for himself. So nothing to separate the two, but given that it was in another division's seed and they do practice, probably should have expected nothing less from them. Calamity.
Yeah, definitely. Would have been surprised if either of them had forgotten already where the location was between. I mean, I don't actually know. I think Ice occasionally like spreads those practice rounds of the other seeds out a bit over the days, so that's maybe why he didn't immediately recognize it. But yeah, as soon as he saw the name again, he remembered.
Okay, well then let us jump here into round number 2. And definitely not Japan.
Yep.
Looks more Mediterranean.
Mm.
So there's quite a few of those little countries in the Mediterranean that have lots of islands.
Yeah, my first thoughts when I was playing it were Croatia or Greece, either of the two.
And it is in fact Greece.
Yep.
There we go. Greek alphabet there for IceTharu, which will be helpful a little bit. The problem is there are a lot of Greek islands, so you want to find a name of a major city, or even the island itself. If I remember right, there's something, but there's an Acropolis in lots of different places in Greece. That's not going to be too helpful. But Tall and Paul is definitely in the right area, heading towards those major roads. While Ice is heading off in a bit of a different direction here, away from that main road.
It seems to me that Ice is heading sort of in the same direction that Tall Impala did, but maybe just further behind.
He did turn around, yes. Yeah. I think he turned around some point. There we go. There's a lot of good signs with some Latin alphabet on them for Tall and Paul that he can read, unless he can read Greek. Who knows? He'll look for one of these Greek islands.
Yeah, I've heard a bunch of times that Greek is like not difficult at all, like similarly to Cyrillic. But I just couldn't have been bothered to learn it yet because it's only useful in Greece and nowhere else.
Yeah, the thing is, like, especially if you do math, a lot of the letters, like, you know what they are. Oh, this is an F, this is a P, this is a D or something.
Yeah.
But can you pronounce it? That's a different thing, right? So
for me, it's kind of different. And yeah, I know what the Greek letter is, but like I know how you say it. Like I know, for example, phi, but do I know what letter phi corresponds to? because it starts with a P, phi, but it's an F. That's more my issue.
Mm. And that could also just depend on the transliteration of it as well. Some people will do an F and some will do a P. So it could even
I mean,
be.
I'd assume people use pi for a P.
Yeah. I mean, Google probably has the maps probably have a similar thing that they always use a certain one. But I guess coming from Asian languages where like everybody misspells stuff when they transliterate, like no one can just make up their mind. But Greek maybe is not have that same problem, I guess. Plenty of information for them here. The problem is, can they find it? And with that information there, Tall does seem to know where he is, and with 30 seconds to go, we'll jump back to the start. So Ice, on the other hand, still scouring those islands, and if Tall is correct, he's got to go further west. So.
I'm actually just noticing on like the very bottom left on Ice's screen, you see Onia.website. I'm pretty sure that must say Kefalonia, which is the island they're on. It's just slightly off his screen.
A bit unfortunate. Oh, there we go. That's the island, my friend. You've got 4 seconds, and he's not going to drop a pin.
Yep.
So, unfortunate for him, he'll be on the wrong side of the Greek Isles. And 5,000 points for Tall Impala. A last-second adjustment gets him that ace, finding that island name. Ice unable to find it, 3,780. Yeah, I think maybe what happened to Ice there is Tall kept going and found some better signs, while Ice spent a lot of time at that one sign, and as you pointed out, was something kind of cropped off the screen that could have been very helpful.
Yeah, even with the information there was on that sign, he probably still had enough to find it though. He did scroll or zoom past it, as you saw there on his screen in the last couple of seconds, and just missed it. Not necessarily the island, but some of the cities that I think were on his screen as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably maybe if he had had a bit more time left, if he wasn't at that point with like 10 seconds left, but with like 30 or 40, may have checked the island more thoroughly and may then have found it. So in that case, maybe you're right in that maybe he spent a bit too much time there.
Indeed. Well, let's see if he can make a comeback after Tall has gotten 2 perfect rounds as we get into round number 3 here. And some very interesting looking signs to begin with.
Greeted with French, so probably not going to be making up very many points here.
Yeah, especially since Tall Impala is French.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how familiar is he with his own country?
There was actually a sign. I don't think either of them saw it right now. At least I didn't spot it on their screens. Right next to the start, I think just a bit east, which said Bretagne. So that already would have given you the rough region. But
yeah, there are quite a few little islands though, as Tall is searching those. Yeah. The other good thing about Brittany is that it is very distinct. Its architecture, the signs, it has a very unique feel to it compared to the rest of France. So usually it's not too hard to know you're in that area. But now they have to find the island.
I think it's actually the bakery at the roundabout that both of them are standing at that did have Bretagne on it.
Neither of them yet to make up their mind what island it could be. And this is one thing that I remember is thinking, is this even an island? But apparently it is.
No, it's not. So, it's not really.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe have to contact the map maker a little bit, but
yeah.
There you go. The port will also be very helpful for Tall.
Yeah, it's not really a thing you can do in Geoguessr, unfortunately, to contact the map maker unless you like have some other means to do so, because there's just no way to do it.
Yeah, there's no way to like message your friends or anything, and Tall will guess very quickly. 5,000 points again, so not leaving any room. And there we go. There's a little bit of a map, as well as the city name for Ice, and it's right there, and he's got a whole minute to go, so hopefully he can get that ace himself as he looks for these street names, but also the supermarket could be a good point of interest to help him pinpoint.
Tom Paul also mentioned to me later that cities starting with KER are typically around sort of the west coast as well, so that helps too if you didn't know you were in Brittany.
And sure enough, that supermarket proves to be the trick, as Ice will also pick up an ace in this round, meaning he doesn't fall any further behind, but Tall yet to leave even a single point of room for Ice to make a comeback, Calamity.
A perfect game still on the cards for Tall Impala. 2 more rounds he has to get perfect, and maybe that'll give him a bonus point.
No, definitely could use it in his race to probably stay around mid-table. Who knows? Maybe make a last-second charge into one of those playoff promotion spots. I think it's mathematically in the table, but a lot of things would have to go his way.
Yeah, I think if he wants to still get promoted, he needs the extra point from a perfect game.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's see if he can do it as we jump into round number 4. And if I remember right, this was also a location that was in another division.
Yep.
Not the exact same spawn, but the exact same island. Sure enough,
was it not the exact same spawn?
Thought it was further up the road. Thought it was the same road, but a different location on the road.
No, it is the same road.
It is the exact location. Okay.
Yeah, same location.
So yeah, random numbers, kind of showing their stuff here when we get a bunch of repeats. It always pays to play the other divisions just in case, and that will take Ice no time at all to get an ace, as he remembers exactly where that is.
Tall Impala, not Ice, but yes.
Oh, sorry, Tom Paul. I was looking at one screen and talking about the other.
I also like how its result page there shows not played for the round. 15,000 points.
Guess too fast, I guess. Yeah.
It also still shows the location in France.
Yeah, that's a bit of a glitch there on the screen for him there, but Ice does know exactly where we are. He did zoom into the island. I don't think he's yet to put a pin down, though.
Doesn't look like he zoomed in on the island.
Nope, maybe he didn't. No, he zoomed into Vancouver Islands, but not the correct one. There we go. He finds it. Yeah. So it seems like he did practice, but maybe it didn't stick in his mind as much as it did for Tall Impala Calamity.
Yeah, it looks like it.
And no, it's not. It's not you. Ice's video is a little bit janky.
Yep.
So don't adjust your screens. You're fine.
For me, it's always difficult to tell because mine are extra janky from the screen share as well.
Yeah, so for those of you who want a little bit of an inside baseball here, Calamity watches a screen share of me watching the video so we can commentate at the same time.
And sometimes, like, sometimes one of our internets isn't exactly perfect. And like it was kind of like that during the Greek round as well, where you were just talking about stuff and I was like, what is he talking about? And 5 seconds later, I was like, oh, that sign. Yeah. I see that too now.
Yeah, it can be a little bit laggy. We're almost opposite ends of the world here, bringing this to you. And even though Ice has got the location, doing his due diligence, using every second again to make sure he gets that ace, and he certainly needs to do that, Calamity, because he has to get a perfect an ace here to even stay in contention, really.
Yeah, and he's also not quite in the right spot yet, so he needs to make some slight adjustments. There we go. Now he's definitely within margin of error, within those probably around 170 meters.
And he will guess, and he will get it 12 meters away, but good enough for the ace nonetheless, Calamity. So yeah, 2 repeat locations in this division. So you were very lucky if you were in one of these divisions. Like if you were in Division 2 or the other division, and then you play the other one as the practice round, it benefited yourself quite a bit, as it
It,
shows.
it kind of depends, actually, I would say. It does benefit you if you're playing against someone who doesn't do the other division seeds, in theory,
Mm.
unless that someone is Verdok, because then he'll just get it right anyway. But it it kind of depends on if you want to say it benefits you against someone who plays the other division seeds as well, because then both of you will know the location. So you're only really left with 3 other locations where you can make up or lose points. Um, Probably does favor you if you think of yourself as the worst player and kind of need that,
Mm.
okay, maybe I can do an upset with just 3 rounds instead of 5. But if you're the favorite and maybe you drop points in one of the other 3 rounds, you've got a lot less room to make up for that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I definitely think that Tom Paula is not going easy here on this last round. He's definitely going to be thinking, I had 2 repeats. The other 2 were relatively easy to do. I'm on a perfect game with only 1 round left. I've got to assume that somebody higher up on the table is probably within easy striking distance, if not tied with me here, going into this last round. As we actually, let's hit the play button and start it,
Yeah.
um, and get into this. So, and an interesting island indeed for our last location,
Mm, Italy.
Italy. So we were here just a few weeks ago. So maybe some of that coming back to help or hinder the
Yeah.
players here. Maybe some PTSD of playing in Italy in the past, but
The thing
um,
is, it's not Sardinia, and I don't think we had any other Italian islands in any of the seeds.
yeah.
So maybe not something they're necessarily familiar with.
As you say that tall already, zooming straight in with just over 30 seconds gone.
On the wrong island, though.
Uh,
Yeah, and those are some
SP-134,
good signs for
Provincial
ice.
Road. Yeah.
The thing is,
And
usually if you find provincial roads, they're pretty useless.
mhm.
Technically on islands, they can be very useful because you've only probably got 1 or 2 roads on that island, so you
Yeah.
can check them. Problem is if the provincial road doesn't show up, which is the case here.
which yeah, which is happening to both Ice and Tall and Paul. The islands they originally thought don't have that road number on them, so they go searching
Mhm. That's also
for
something
where
that
they
always
might be.
makes it worse because in theory, as Ice actually found the right island because it has
There
the
we go.
cities that he's seen on the signs. In theory, if you know that all of the roads will show up in a correct way, then you can eliminate every island where the road doesn't show up. But because
Mhm.
that's not the case in Italy, you can't really do that with good conscience.
Yeah. Yeah. Tall and Paul is also sitting at that exact same sign
Mm,
and has yet to find it. So a little bit of luck maybe there for Ice being able to find an island with all the information on it, as it's proving a bit difficult for Tall to do. But I think he's got to be on the same island at least. I think if he's not, he might drop enough points. Maybe I'm not sure.
he's got to be very far
Over,
away.
yeah. You'd have to guess a really bad island. If he's
Yeah.
even remotely close, it's probably not going to be 1,500 points. Given that it is a world map, if it was an Italy map, yes, but given that it is world map, he's a little bit more generous with the points, and he's still not found it. Only 30 seconds left to go.
Yeah, I think you realize now that he can't really be on Sardinia with the way the island looks,
Oh,
and
there
there we
we go.
go.
30 seconds left, and he finds it finally. There it is. Whew.
But he's only got
Still,
25 seconds for a perfect score.
yes, and that comes the next question. Can he get the perfect game?
He
Something
needs,
rarely seen outside of Division 1. And he's giving it a go here.
yeah, he's doing something that I
Mm-hmm.
occasionally do as well, which is not, it's not the most logical thing to do, because what he did was basically he knew he was on north-south road,
Mm-hmm.
um, and So he kind of thought, okay, it looks like we're sort of getting a bit smaller in terms of the road to the north. So he went all the way to the north of the island and saw like there's one little stretch of road where it goes north-south. There's a bunch of houses around it, but just ignore that. The road goes north-south a bit there. And he put his marker there. Whereas, the most logical thing is, okay, this is a pretty long, north-south road in general. Obviously makes a couple of curves. So we're probably at the stage on the island where the road mainly goes north-south, which was the case as well. But yeah, also a bit unlucky. We did spawn right next to a sign that said Frontone, which I think is a museum or something, which also showed up as a PY as he scrolled past the right place on the island, but just probably forgotten about it in the 3 minutes that passed since he saw it.
Yeah, 4,890 points for him. So he'll miss out on that perfect game, but it will keep him, as when he played it, at least going to get a tie out of this, not dropping even 100 points. But in fact, it will be enough for a win with IceTharu getting 4,999. Not able to make up that one bad round in Greece is all that separates the two. As we bring up their final scores for you here. 24,989 for Talimpala, 23,785 for Ice. Kind of unfortunate for Ice. A very good score overall if you just look at the score by itself, but Talimpala, unfortunately, even better on the day. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Goodbye.